Regardless, I arrive early because it's only appropriate to do so. The room is richly decorated, tables overflow with delicacies, and 1,000 candles or more illuminate it all. I want to quickly check out the guide. What day is it today? It's 23. And we have we're fine. We're like actually fine. Alright, the room is richly decorated, tables overflow with delicacies, and 1,000 candles or more illuminate it all. After I take it all in, the somewhat confused Master of Ceremonies emerges and leads me to one next... Wait, what? Master of Ceremonies emerges and leads me to one next to several minor nobles. Unfortunately, I recognize them as the men who regularly gossip in the corridor. They recognize me too, and the fact that we're seated so close together doesn't reflect well on them. After all, I'm not Eskian nobility. The men start whispering amongst themselves, but I ignore it. Instead, I watch from afar as the higher-ranked nobles in the royal family make their entrances. Eventually, with the hall full to the point of bursting, the Master of Ceremonies announces that the banquet is officially open. The Lord Regent gives a brief speech, but I can't hear a word, partially because of the distance between us, partially because the nearby noblemen can't stop gossiping. Thankfully, I can only make out snippets of their conversation. And then, that simply isn't true. I saw it with my own eyes. Even though the food is absolutely delicious, it's strange to be surrounded by Eskia's entire upper crust, especially since I wasn't invited by one of the princes. After what feels like an eternity, the dinner is over. I stand and decide to see if I can spot at least one familiar face. Obviously, we're gonna search for Seren, but I'm gonna save just in case. Search for Seren. I decide to look for the Crown Prince, though I suppose it's a fool's errand at an event like this. I manage to spot him eventually though. He's close to the ballroom floor, is surrounded by plenty of other nobles, and stands with none other than Lady Ishbel at his side. The prince's head is low, likely so he can better hear everyone else. Lady Ishbel is being given almost as much attention as the Crown Prince too. I recall that as the heir to the House Ouds, she had the honour of escorting the ambassador. Prince Seren looks up and our eyes meet. He raises a brow in surprise, then gives me a small nod and a smile. I nod back, then withdraw. His duties to the realm come before everything else, after all. I'm sad. A little while later, I head to a quiet corner of the banquet hall, exhausted from talking to people. Leaning against a pillar, I watch the proceedings. I'm not yet well versed enough in Eskian and Maranian politics to fully understand what's going on around me. It seems to be either some kind of dance or theatre show. Minor nobles wait to be introduced to their more important peers. Ladies move in pairs from group to group, spreading gossip. Wait, let me... I feel like this hasn't gone up. I don't know. It's so frustrating that I cannot tell. I don't know what this one is, because these seem to make sense in correlation with them. Like Seren, the oldest, right? Yeah, they're the oldest, right? So he has to do with the crown. He likes hanging around with merchants. I don't fucking know. So this makes sense for him, and I don't know his deal either, but this seems like dark. This seems like the symbol for darkness, right? So that's why that reminds me of him. But I don't know what this is, and I don't know what this is. So I'm just very confused. My stats are pretty banging, though, I'm not gonna lie. My beauty's pretty off the chart, so I'm gonna put a stop on that one. Whatever. Sometimes the laughter is forced, and sometimes it's sincere. Smiles flash like daggers or gifts in almost every conversation. When it's over, both parties bow and take their leave. I watch the princes navigate the ballroom, each in their own way. There's Prince Seren's quiet statesmanship, Prince Nazir with his impenetrably thick skin, and Prince Aurelius who incongruously charms his way through. Good evening, Lady Rosencruz. Raphael's sudden appearance at my side pulls me out of my thoughts. I glance at him and note he's still wearing his uniform. Good to see you, Raphael. The Lord Regent invited me. I smile and he nods in return, though he makes no move to leave. Are you working tonight? Yes, it almost feels like the old days. Raphael smiles in fond reminiscence before sobering up. I just finished making preparations for the meeting after the banquet. It seems rather strange to schedule a celebration just before the talks, don't you think? A soft chuckle escapes Raphael's lips. It's pragmatic, something the late king and the Marenians, let's just say Marenians, the H is silent, Marenians have in common. I can't help but raise a curious eyebrow. Rather than look at me, however, he watches the ongoing event. Have the celebration the day before and everyone will be hungover and in a bad mood. Having it the day after, meanwhile, risks no one attending, especially if things don't go well. Therefore, holding them on the same night is pragmatic. I frown and look at nearby groups of nobles. One woman plucks a wine glass from her husband, then starts angrily chiding him. In one of the other corners, 3 noblemen sit at a table that's been cleaned of plates and cutlery. Ledgers are strewn out, so I suppose they must be preparing for the negotiations. A few steps away from them, meanwhile, is Councillor Gabrielle, who moves gracefully from person to person, permitting and denying audiences as she goes. The late king and Maren had a rather close relationship, didn't they? Raphael nods. I watch Councillor Gabrielle, realizing that this young woman could, with her influence in Maren's court, make almost anything happen. Including war. The thought makes me feel uneasy. I have to ask, how has Eskia remained independent for so long? Maren has one of the largest standing armies in the whole region, which they are not afraid to use. And surely some carousing wouldn't be enough to keep things stable, would it? The late king was a very charismatic man, Lady Rosencruz. I was young, but I remember how scared people used to be of Maren. Raphael frowns, but then composes himself and shakes his head. Somehow we always knew the king would keep us safe, and he did, though not without negotiations. Are you familiar with the Gronos Accord? I shake my head. The Gronos Accord gives Maren access to sea trade through a single port in Eskia, located in Gronos. The Marenians sent one member of their royal family to our lands, and he became the Duke of Gronos and managed sea trade between Maren and the east. In fact, he's the first one to be granted a dukedom since. Raphael stops mid-sentence and frowns, suddenly self-aware. Although I wait for him to finish, he doesn't. I've studied Eskia's noble lineages and noted the lack of dukedoms. There is only one left as of today, and I've wondered if it has some hidden history. Raphael's silence at least confirms my suspicions. I see, so Duke Gronos must be a powerful man. Raphael shrugs. He is still an Eskian subject, but he's also an important liaison between our two kingdoms. Is he present today? No, he rarely travels because managing Gronos is quite time-consuming. The princes have no jurisdiction over his fief. I frown, thinking back to all the travels we've done these past few months. It seems there are some places we still haven't seen. So he's nearly as powerful as the princes, then? Raphael shakes his head and smiles. As I said, he's still an Eskian subject, though House Gronos is, in many ways, separate. Besides, there is no need to worry. The Duke shares a good relationship with the princes, especially Prince, Raphael freezes again, frowning. Again, he doesn't elaborate. I see. So that was how landlocked Maren gained access to the sea. Still, if they wanted the whole coast, they could invade with their army. I hope the goodwill the king built up will remain after his death. I say it quietly, and Raphael's expression turns serious. So do all the nobles here. Truth is, the hours to follow will be incredibly important for Eskia's future. Silence falls over us, so I look at the nobles again. Somehow, I'm reminded of how young Eskia is, how fragile, how filled with secrets and fear, and how the young princes have been thrust into it all, expected to live up to their father's example. Please excuse me. Before I have time to wonder why Raphael suddenly retreated, I look up and notice Councillor Gabrielle moving towards us with a purposeful stride. I straighten up, watching her approach. She sheds her followers and hangers-on with practiced ease, so she is alone by the time she stands in front of me. Lady Gabrielle. Her smile is appreciative and amused at the same time. Lady Rosencruz, I have heard much about you. You have? I tried to hide my surprise and fail miserably. Councillor Gabrielle's eyes light up with glee at my floundering, so I blush. I invited you, didn't I? Oh. That explains why the Lord Regent invited me, I suppose, but why did she do so? In that case, thank you. Is this your first time in Eskia, my lady? My question bores her. She must have heard it 100 times tonight. Yes, it is. Though I must say, I thought it would be larger. I chuckle. To be honest, I thought the same thing when I first came here. It feels like one could walk across the entire kingdom in a day. Even still, Eskia is much larger than where I come from. Not that I'd say that. It is my turn to ask you then. Is this your first time in Eskia? Yes, I first arrived after receiving my appointment as the royal tutor. Councillor Gabrielle inclines her head, her brilliant eyes lingering on me for too long to feel comfortable. She raises an eyebrow, her smile, meanwhile, borders on impertinence. I understand that you are a member of the High Council, no? Perhaps you too should consider the title Councillor, Councillor Rosencreuz. I blush and humbly lower my gaze. As a rather new member, I haven't yet achieved a proper title, and I'm sure she knows that. Besides, the High Council feels so distant here in Eskia. I am happy with what I have. You're too modest, don't you think? From what I've heard, you're not very far from getting that title, even as the Council's youngest member ever. How is it, sitting at the same table as your father? I open my mouth to answer, but she continues, her smile never falters, even though her eyes narrow ever so slightly. And with him being senior alchemist, no less, quite the achievements for both of you. It takes me a moment to realize what Councillor Gabrielle is insinuating. She assumes I only got appointed because of father. An insult is an insult, even when it's wrapped in silk. However, considering the situation and environment, I smile diplomatically. I am sure you know how it feels, Lady Gabrielle. I've heard that His Majesty, the Moranian King, has been fond of you even before your official appointment. Her eyes. Regardless, I believe my father would prefer me off the council. Gossip is rampant and even the hardest workers will encounter it eventually. But he's proud of me nonetheless since I've forged my own path. Councillor Gabrielle nods with approval, and I realize she must have had similar experiences. At last, she smiles. As he should be. You surely are as intriguing as they say. Before I have time to say anything more, the Lord Regent appears. Ah, Councillor. He only notices me when he comes closer. First, there's a surprised look, then a terse nod of acknowledgement. Young Rosencreuz, I trust you are enjoying yourself. I smile at Councillor Gabrielle, and she returns it. In such company, how could I not? The Lord Regent looks to Councillor Gabrielle, then back at me. His expression grows a little cloudier. My apologies, but the chambers are prepared and the Regency Council is ready for our negotiations. If you'll excuse us, young Rosencreuz. Councillor Gabrielle smiles dazzlingly and puts a hand on the Lord Regent's arm. Of course, my lord. And thank you, Lady Rosencreuz, for a most stimulating conversation. The two leave, gathering up a posse of followers as they go. It is immediately obvious that the banquet is over, even if not officially. What is Eskia's future? And more importantly, what sort of person is Councillor Gabrielle? I suppose all I can do is hope for the best, since it's all out of my hands. Yay! Okay, so we're going to be at week 24, and nothing happens. Nothing happens at week 24 that I need to know about in regards to stat checks. So cool. Right. Oh, apart from this, like, we need to do this, which is fine. Commoner's approval is 27. Servant's approval is 16. Noble's approval is pretty fucking bad. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. It's pretty bad. His life. Accompany Prince Aurelius. I don't want to. Where is all of Saren's stuff? Can someone ask me? Can someone tell me that? There's nothing for Saren. There has not been anything for Saren. There's been loads of missions for Aurelius I've seen. But again, I guess we are only at week 23. Let me just bring up the recording software again. Alright. We're just gonna have to keep doing this. You are learning wood so that you hopefully have enough for that thing that I want to make. But I don't even know if we would need it. But you never know. And it seems like something that would be the worst to have to make. So you are going to continue doing this. Okay, I have a lot of beauty. I think I should... Man, I don't know. Let's go all intelligence. Why is he learning fire? can't remember why I did that. Anyway, as usual, save scumming time. Oh, look at that, a 2 instantly. No. I don't like it starting on a 3. No, those are really shit. 5? 2. If we get even 1, 2, it's just not good. Yeah. Alright, I'm pausing until I get the wanted outcome. Okay, I guess that's as good as it's gonna get, really. Okay, Lady Rosencruz. Oh, we haven't seen Sala in a while. Sala's small figure slips forward to stand in front of me, stopping me mid-track in the corridors. Sala! Dipping into an elegant curtsy, she regards me with a faint smile. My apologies for bothering you. I'd hoped to bring you a request. Of course, what do you need? It's actually Miss Marigold who asked. She is one of the palace's staff and requested a batch of healing salve. I already made the healing salve. Hey, I remember the beautiful servant I met but a few weeks ago and can't help but frown. Healing salve? Did she get hurt? No, I do not believe so. I suppose it's rather meant to be a preventative measure. I pause, pondering about what Sala could possibly mean, but decide to not dig further into it. Healing salve is easy enough to synthesize. Of course, if you're too busy, please feel free to reject the request. I already have some. I'll take care of it. Thank you kindly, Master. It really is like it was supposed to be a... I don't get that. Why... Maybe they mix up the other way as well, but this should obviously be Lady Rosencruz. If possible, please deliver the item to Miss Marigold in 4 weeks. 4 weeks, huh? I suppose I'll tell Raphael to put it on my schedule. I step into the Merchants Guild and am immediately bombarded by noise and opulence. The people inside fit the surroundings, because everywhere I look, there are rich robes and expensive jewellery. Nobles and merchants mingle freely. I remind myself that everyone is dressed for the announcement of a new representative. The Eskian Merchants Guild is one of the most powerful institutions in the kingdom, after all. Through its official representative, the guild negotiates with the palace on all matters relating to trade, taxes, tariffs, permits, markets, and so on. Simply put, if you want to trade in Eskia, you do it through them. I suppose in that sense, almost every ounce of wealth in the kingdom flows through these halls at some point. I cannot help but feel extremely out of place. Normally, a simple tutor would have no business here, but I have an invitation. After all, someone here commissioned me to make a ghost bell, a rare but useful item for travelers, as a gift to the new representative. I hold the box containing the bell close to my chest. One of the heavily armored guards looks at me and narrows his eyes. I quickly glance away and hurry my steps, only to almost run into someone in the process. Oh! The woman is as finely dressed as the other guests, and although she seems too delicate to be a merchant, something about the way she dodges my stumble tells me she isn't a noble. Oh, I'm terribly sorry, my lady. It's rather crowded in here, isn't it? She smiles, her gaze flitting up and down my body like a buyer assessing a display. She pauses to linger on the ornate box in my arms before making eye contact again. Yes, I've never been here before, but it's very impressive. The woman glances around as if seeing the guild hall for the first time, then crinkles her nose. Impressive, yes, but also ostentatious and rather vulgar. Her smile broadens. I'm rather fond of it, to be honest. She looks at me and I cannot help but feel my clothes being compared to everyone else's. Clearly you are neither a noble nor a merchant, and if you are, you must be a poor one. Who might you be then? You have sharp eyes. I am Valkii of House Rosencruz, the royal tutor. I bow, but she doesn't respond to my introduction with one of her own. Instead, the woman's eyes return to the box, and finally she mentions it. What do you have there then, royal tutor? I lift the box and crack the lid, revealing the bell and the velvet pillow it's resting on. It's a gift from the High Council to the new representative, a ghost bell. Her eyes light up with curiosity, but I can also sense confusion. Of course, it makes sense. A ghost bell looks like a normal bell, but lacks a clapper. I carefully pluck it from the box and hand it to her. Ghost bell cannot be heard by humans, hence the name, but all manner of beasts can. It can frighten away hungry wolves and mountain lions without bothering the user in the slightest. She gives it a few swings, seemingly incredulous. Of course, it doesn't make any sound at all. The woman looks at me, one eyebrow raised. If someone tried to sell this to me on the street, I'd laugh in their face. A bell that makes no sound, imagine. Although, if it does what you say it does. I take the bell from her and place it back in the box. A small blush coats my features. I can assure you that this one works, as I made it myself. Charlatans used to manufacture fakes all the time, however. All you have to do is take the clapper off of a real bell. That is why they're so rare, because unless you know the bell's manufacturer, you can't be sure if it works until it's too late. The merchant woman nods thoughtfully, her curiosity clearly sated. Since this one comes directly from you, it ought to be genuine. Genuine, genuinely rare, and genuinely valuable. It is a very thoughtful gift. She reaches out and takes the whole box from me. I'm so surprised that she does it, with an authoritative expression, that I can't even protest. She then offers me her free hand, tucking the ghost bell under her other arm. I am Viola Belmont, the new representative of the Merchants Guild. A pleasure to meet you, Lady Rosencruz. I close my mouth. How could I be so clueless? For some reason, I expected the new representative to be like the old one. A corpulent, red-faced man with a mustache, not the young woman standing in front of me. I shake Viola's hand. Her grip is firm. A pleasure, and with compliments from the High Council. I believe this will be very useful to me since I do travel a lot. Thank you. A group of richly dressed merchants approach, and I can tell they're coming to whisk Viola away for the next part of the ceremony. I give her a quick bow. If there's anything else I can do for you, please let me know. When Viola smiles, I cannot help but feel a warm tingle run up my spine. I may have just promised a bit more than I should, and for free at that. I might just take you up on that offer, Lady Rosencruz. With that, she leaves me. Here's to hoping I won't regret my offer, my lady. Whoa! I jump in surprise, the guard having snuck up on me. He places a heavy, gloved hand on my shoulder, but his smile is terse at best. What is your business here, my lady? Nothing, I was just leaving. In that case, let me escort you. In truth, I'm happy to leave, but Viola stays in my mind as I head home. Something tells me we'll meet again soon. Every thief's weekly income has increased. Oh, really? The aforementioned cloth has been sent to you along with this letter. We humbly request your aid with its enchantment, Lady Rosencruz. I look up from the parchment and glance at the package sitting on my desk, then return to the letter. You said it came this morning? Yes, Lady Rosencruz. From the Merchants Guild. Yes, and as you can tell from the sigil. But I was there just 2 days ago. Indeed, Lady Rosencruz. Eskian merchants are rumored to be quick, efficient, and above all else, opportunistic. Oh, opportunistic by the literal meaning of the word. I can't swallow my frustration, so a groan ends up escaping my lips. Merely 2 days have passed since I dropped their last request off, met Miss Belmont, and regrettably offered her my services. It was only meant to be common courtesy, but it seems she's taking advantage of it nonetheless. So, they would like me to enchant this cloth to make it more durable for Miss Belmont's travels. 1 second. Okay. It seems so. Additionally, the item is to be delivered to Miss Belmont in 9 weeks. That's a long time. I suppose that, if nothing else, that's a fair amount of time. The real question is, do I have enough to spare? Probably. Oh, well, I suppose that's fine. Please let them know I'll take care of it. Yes, Lady Rosencruz, I'll put a reminder on your schedule. Setting the letter and cloth aside, Raphael regards me with a much more serious expression. Now then, I'm afraid I need to bring something else to your attention. Let's hear it. Perhaps you've heard that next week will be the annual royal hunt. As the High Council's official delegate and the Prince's tutor, you'll be accompanied by one of them. The one you choose will remain with you from the beginning to the end. They will join you for breakfast before the assembly as well as for celebrations in the evenings. Please let me know who you would like to accompany you and I shall assist you in replying to their invitation. Raphael puts 3 letters on my desk and I take a look at them. Such a big hunt is bound to be as dangerous as it will be exciting. From what I've heard, Prince Aurelius is an avid and skilled hunter. If I want to enjoy this event to the fullest, it might be a good idea to join him. On the other hand, he probably won't be as pleasant as Prince Seren, who will stay by my side without fail. Finally, there's Prince Nazir. I can't imagine him taking this event seriously. In fact, I'm certain he'll want to mingle with the commoners instead. If I may give you a piece of advice. Yes? All of Eskia's factions be present, and so will ambassadors and nobles from Marin. Whoever you choose to go with will leave a long-lasting impression, one you may not be able to change afterwards. I suggest you choose the prince you feel closest to. Are we already... Is this where we choose our route? Okay. Thank you, Raphael. Ah, here we go. This is where we're choosing our route. Okay, cool. Well, I'm choosing Seren, obviously. I will be joining the hunt with Prince Seren. Certainly, I shall prepare the reply. Taking a deep breath, I feel myself tremble in anticipation. It's been a while since I've participated in a proper hunt. Perhaps I should visit the barracks this week to polish my combat skills. I think our combat skills are fine. Alright, let's have a look. Right, yes, that's fine. We've got that down. Merchant representative. Right, what the fuck do they want? Oh, we can already make this. Oh, we can even make this. Okay. So we don't even have to worry about that one anymore. We don't have to worry about any requested item. They're all fine. Okay, cool. The cursed room. I'm just wondering if anything's new. I don't think it is new. Okay, so how are you doing with your wood? Okay, that's fine, I guess. How are you doing? I think we should get above 100 intelligence. Just for fun. Just so that we're there. And then maybe I'll work on something else. Maybe I'll do more combat. I don't know. I don't know. What about etiquette? Well, we need etiquette. Let me go to the guide. Okay, so week 25. I don't know what some of this means, but how is his water? His water's fine. That would be fine. Alright, so... I don't think I need to be thinking about anything else, really. Nazir... How are you doing? Okay, that's good. I am just checking the guide. 40 Seren's wind. Do you have wind? You don't have wind. Your stuff is really well done, so let's do some other stuff. How is your wind? Your wind isn't great. That's not good. I would like to get the wood up though, but you know what? We'll get wind up to 100 at the least. Okay, and your fire. Okay, I guess... Wait, why does Seren need wind? Why have I got him learning wind? I don't actually know why I've got him learning wind. I don't know, I'm actually really confused at that. These will eventually need to be made, I can guarantee it. Wait. No, yeah, okay. Think. Wind and fire is Nazir, right? Wind and fire, yes. Okay, well, I think we're just gonna go ahead with whatever we're doing now. Maybe you should learn some dark. I really don't know why I've got him learning that. So let's just give him some darkness. Okay, as for moi, we're gonna just go ahead with the intelligence, honestly. For now. Overwrite this journal, yes. Start. Oh, look at that. We start off on a bad note. Shocking. No, look at that. Even awful. We give it 3 tries and then I pause and then I get it to where I want it to be. Oh, 6? 2, no. Alright, I will see you in a bit.